And so when I say Chinese, I want you to scream out the nation that's associated with this. For example, if I say Chinese, you're going to say what?
China!
All right, let's say it with authority. When I say Chinese, you say what? China! All right, that's just a test right there. So here we go. Chinese.
China!
Russian.
Russia!
Italian.
Italy!
German.
Germany!
Swedish.
Sweden!
Korean.
Korea!
Egyptian.
Egypt!
Nigerian.
Nigeria!
Black.
Exactly. Nothing. Tell him, Pastor. Tell him, Pastor. Black, nothing.
I hope you were able to successfully identify the issue.
The lion won't sleep tonight, 'cause we woke now, and we woke now. I said the lion won't sleep tonight, 'cause we woke now, and we woke now. They want us to sell our souls to barter profit, like God's property. It's hard to market, so we steady to aim, keep your eyes on target. 'Cause when you got to drive, yeah, they'd rather you park it. But I don't valet, you ain't getting these keys. I'm keeping closed hands, I'm on bended knee. I'm just a reflection, dealing with 8 sections. Art mixed with life, you can feel the convection. You lying won't sleep tonight, 'cause we woke now, and we woke now. I said the lion won't sleep tonight, 'cause we woke now, and we woke now. I said
The same people that have stripped us of our identity and labeled us as a color have told us what it means to be black.
The white man is enacting a story all over the world. We left our homes and flooded the world. We smothered culture. We smothered knowledge. We erased history and rewrote it our way. Myself, my grandfather is 100% Ashkenazi Jewish. Claiming to be Jewish, Ashkenazi Jewish is just a conspiracy. White men claiming to be of tribes of Israel when I'm Germanic. You know, I have no ties to Israel, no ties to Judaism. You know, except loosely written history that's been whitewashed over for centuries. And, you know,
from the Renaissance.
Oh yeah, right. You wipe everything clean. It's funny how exactly the Renaissance. It's this rebirth, but it's white rebirth. I think at the same exact time the Renaissance is happening, Columbus is sailing to America and committing genocide.
There's only one true ethnic Jew, the Mizrahi Jew, because they are Africans, and if you read the original Bible written in Phoenician Hebrew, they're not. Jewish people are not Europeans. The modern Jews in Israel are Russians or Khazars to be precise, from Russia. I learned it from my grandfather that because he was an Ashkenazi Jew.
Assalamu alaikum. In the 13th tribe, Arthur Koestler traces the origin of Eastern Europe's Jewish population that was largely decimated by the Nazi onslaught during the Second World War. Through extensive research, he discusses the history of a trading empire that was set up by a tribe known as the Khazars. The Khazar Empire was located between the expanding power blocks of Christianity and Islam, and the people were converted to Judaism by their king as a way of standing apart from both. The Khazarians and their wealth were dispersed through the countries of Eastern Europe after the collapse of the Khazar Empire. The Khazarians were not a Semitic people, that they called themselves Jews after their conversion to Judaism is as absurd as the Chinese Muslims calling themselves Arabs.
I'm about to show you something extremely controversial. It's even illegal in the state of Israel. Ladies and gentlemen, my DNA. No, I bet you thought it was going to be a lot crazier than that.
This TikTok caused a storm online, with many debating what his results, which show no trace of being from Palestine or the Middle East, despite being Jewish, mean. DNA testing to prove Jewish ancestry is a hot-button political issue in Israel. For example, Israel's chief rabbinate has pushed for the ancestral DNA tests to be allowed to prove Jewishness in certain cases. In particular, many Jews who have emigrated to Israel from the Soviet Union, who may not have had the necessary paperwork that shows they are Jewish, have sought to get genetic tests done to show they are Jews. In 2019, a political scandal erupted when it appeared Russian Jews were secretly submitting DNA tests to the rabbinate in order to obtain the right to move to Israel.
You can convert to Judaism. You can't convert to a blood family. You cannot convert to a race. Judaism is a religion. That's all it is. Judaism is a religion. That's all it is.
Judaism is a religion. That's all it is.
There are Ashkenazi Jews who are entirely European in their DNA. That's why you're not allowed to have a DNA test in Israel, because it will reveal that virtually none of them are Semitic, virtually none of them have any ancestral connection to the land. I was viciously assaulted by a manager in the BBC who had recently converted to Judaism. It's fine, I love all religions, but you can't say I've now converted to Judaism and therefore I have a right to go to the land of Palestine and live in the house of someone whose ancestors have been living in it for thousands of years.
That's what the Zionists did, except instead of a baseball team, they went to try to convince the Jews that the Jewish people are a nation, like France and like Spain. We'll get a land, that's Israel, that's our stadium. We'll get baseball bats and balls, we'll create a language. They sat down to create a language because nations need languages. They sat down to create a language because nations need languages. They sat down to create a language. They sat down to create a language.
They sat down to create a language.
How about you? Are you a white Jew?
So we could elaborate on this debate. I'm going to try to stay sort of in the pocket here, one thing at a time. But am I white passing? Absolutely. How we're going to define
you said you're white passing.
The religion created the Jewish people. The definition of a Jewish person is somebody who is transformed by receiving the Torah.
Here's what I would like to say to you, Rabbi, since you're quoting scripture, okay? The one that's relevant to me is, woe unto them that call evil good and good evil, that put darkness for light and light for darkness. And if you'd like to dive into a little more scripture, I think what's relevant is Revelation 3:9. Behold, I will make them of the synagogue of Satan, which say they are Jews and are not, but do lie. And I'm speaking directly to you, Rabbi Shmuley. Revelation 3:9. Behold, I will make them of the synagogue of Satan, which say they are Jews and are not, but do lie.
Revelation 3:9. Behold, I will make them of the synagogue of Satan, which say they are Jews and are not, but do lie.
You say, well, where did the name Ashkenazi came from? So, a little over 1,000 years ago, as Jewish people scattered around the world had now emigrated in Europe and now were living in the Rhineland in Germany, they looked at the name Gomer in Genesis 10, and they connected Gomer with Germany, so they took on the identity of the name Ashkenaz. It has nothing to do with Ashkenaz in the Bible, which is a descendant of Japheth. It's just a name that was taken. Okay, it's that simple. Just like my last name Brown doesn't refer to the color of my skin. Just like my last name Brown doesn't refer to the color of my skin.
Just like my last name Brown doesn't refer to the color of my skin.
Michael Brown, I am Caucasian.
Just like my last name Brown doesn't refer to the color of my skin or anything else. It was shortened from a Russian name when my grandfather came over at Ellis Island. The name got shortened to Brown. It's just a name. That's all it is. So the idea that Ashkenazi Jews are descended from Japheth is a myth, 100% false, zero truth to it. Just study the history.
This story begins in October 1949, 1 year after Israel's formation. This is when Netanyahu was born, the second child of a historian. His paternal grandfather was a rabbi and a Zionist writer. His name was Nathan Milikowski. Later in life, he Hebraized his surname from Milikowski to Netanyahu, a name which means God has given.
This is Yair Netanyahu's DNA test that has been leaked. You can see right there his Y DNA is RM198. Descendants of RM198 come from Poland, Russia, Germany, and other European countries. Does this look Semitic to you? Does this look Middle Eastern?
Genesis chapter 11 verse 10 explains the genealogy of Shem. Shem was a black man in Africa. If you repeat this fact, they can't laugh at you. If you repeat this fact, they can't laugh at you. If you repeat this fact, they can't laugh at you.
Want to say peace and blessings to everyone. Hope and pray all is well with you guys. Let me fix my camera here. Looked like I was kind of like very, below my center line here. So wanted to adjust it here, but hope and pray you guys had a blessed Shabbat. We had a great time at our Shabbat. I just really thank the Most High for all that he's doing, and really appreciate you guys for being online. And let me go ahead and drop this link inside the chat for Sister Carol, Berean Scholar, some of the, my cousin Benea, he's in the chat. You guys know what to do. All right. So I'm going to drop the link if you guys want to jump on. But family, we're just going to dive into the discussion about the cult of Molech worship. And really, it's supposed to be the cult of Baal worship. I have to change that. But it still ties in together. So it should be the cult of Baal inside the thumbnail. So I'll make some adjustments to the thumbnail. And what really prompted me to do this discussion on this subject, on this topic, is because, you guys already know I've done some extensive teachings on the Freemasons, the secret societies. And as we continue to progress, as many of us are really awakening to not just who we are, but also to how everything just interconnects. It's similar to the Matrix, when you come into this awakening and you really start getting free from a lot of the doctrine that we were, of course, indoctrinated with, you start realizing like, wow, that rabbit hole just goes so deep, so deep, so deep. And if you guys agree with that, if you learned so much, since you have walked away from Christianity, and I want to make this clear to some of our brothers and sisters that may still be in Christianity and some of those other religious systems, you don't need a religion to have the Messiah. You don't need to have Christianity to have Christ, right? Hamashiach. Christ in the Greek, Hamashiach, the Messiah in the ancient Hebrew. We've learned that. There was a lot of witchcraft that we were subjected to, and you will not realize that until you come out of that system. You guys probably remember when, some of you guys probably transitioned from one church home to another, and they demonize you as if you was walking away from the Messiah. And so that's what we've been programmed to believe, that if you walk away from the church per se, then you're walking away from the Messiah. And that's the furthest thing from the truth. And I can tell you from my own testimony, it actually draws you closer, because then when you start understanding the scriptures in its proper context, then you really start understanding the magnitude of what the Most High has done for us through his son. You don't need all these layers of religious rituals and all that stuff. Actually, it's harder to keep those rituals in the feast days, much harder. But with that being said, I don't want to be long winded. Let me bring Sister Carol and let me bring Berean Scholar in, and then we're just going to go into this discussion. A lot to cover. So I want to say peace and blessings to my brothers and sisters, brother and sister. I'm saying it like it's plural, but peace and blessings to you guys. Really appreciate all you guys, what you guys do. How you guys doing tonight?
Peace and blessing, brothers. Doing real good. How about yourself?
Oh, you know me. I'm blessed. Always grinding it out, and uh, just had a great week. Very tiresome. We, you know, moving forward with some things. What the Most High allowed us to acquire for as property. So very draining. You guys already know
Mm-hmm.
how
Right.
what comes with the territory. Brian Scholar, how you doing tonight?
Doing great. Peace and blessing, brother and sister.
Hey, brother.
Oh, he went Russell Simmons. Thank you very much. Good night. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
I was waiting for him to say something else.
Jeff called me
All
jam
right.
days.
Oh,
Okay,
no,
all right.
man. It's a blessing to be here. I was reading one of the comments about he's praying there's no trolls. I said every time you mention the truth, it stirs up demons. So you keep your eyes open.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And so the scriptures call them talebearers, right?
Wow.
And if you want to get more information on the talebearer family, just go to Leviticus 19 and they give you the full outline of what a troll is. And it's referred to as a talebearer. And we also see that there's other references about what a troll does, you know, but nevertheless, really appreciate you guys and family. Feel free to share your comments inside the comments section. We're not dealing with any trolls. Last night, I was going to make I was just going to make an exception to deal with some craziness, right? And the person was disrespectful, and you guys know the rest is history. So let's go and get into it, family. But we don't tolerate the trolls over here. We don't tolerate extremes, doctrines, and all that other stuff. We stay strictly to the things of the Most High, the scriptures. That is our primary source. We don't dive into secondary sources and treat them as if they're the primary source. Anything that contradicts the law and the prophets, we don't deal with that, right? So we're not, I'm just going to leave it at that. So let me go and stretch the screen out here. And family, again, don't allow trolls that may pop in the chat to be a distraction. All right. And don't you be a distraction, because sometimes you could be a distraction, not knowingly trying to address trolls. Hey, we just going to block them. You know what I mean? No conversation, just block them. Moderators. All right. So let's get into it. The cult of Molech worship, the cult of Baal. All right. So let's get into it. And what is the cult of Baal? And I'll just put this out there. I'll ask this question to you guys that are watching and get your observations here. What stands out with the image that you see in the background? And this helps set the tone for what we're going to cover tonight. And just type it inside the chat, and I'll read some of your comments as we go through this lesson. All right. I'll use the comments as the shout outs. So, Berean Scholar, Sister Carol, what do you guys think of the image that you see on the screen?
The beast system, the beast. We all worship the almighty beast.
Okay. Yep. Okay. Berean Scholar.
I'm looking at that Wailing Wall. Where it's set up at.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. And what all and notice the altar that you see there too.
That's right.
All right. Notice the altar. And and who's at that altar. And now let me make this clear, family. I don't want to deceive you guys, right? I created this image. It's all AI generated, right? But it looks real, doesn't it?
Yeah,
It does.
but it's telling the truth.
But that's the whole point that I want to make.
Right.
That we're not going to be able to go into everything tonight, but just off of the diagram I'm going to share with you guys, you'll see how everything ties in together. And I like one of the comments that I saw here, because that's one of the intentions of this image here. Let me see here. Let me see if I could scroll up. This is a great response here, because this person really caught on to it, right? Wall Street has a bull, right? And when you really think about it, think about who controls it. Think
Correct.
about how Wall Street is actually an altar, right? Wall Street is actually built off of the property that was owned by our ancestors,
That's
who
right.
was slaves.
That's right. They were the first commodity. That's how it got
Yeah,
started.
yeah.
And what the
And even
wall
the
came from.
territory in New York was Negroes living on that property.
Mm-hmm.
Seneca Village.
Yep. So you see a lot of deception inside this image. You see the 1948ers. You see the bull, which is representing the currency, but also the world system.
Mm-hmm.
And then you see that wall behind them, that Wailing Wall, which is not a remnant of the temple. That is actually Fort Antonia, excuse me. That's not the temple. That's not a remnant of the temple, because as it is recorded, the entire temple was decimated. So it's a lot of moving parts here, right? I'll see if some of my videos came up, because I was uploading while we were actually going live, while I was showing those video clips in the intro. I was actually uploading clips at the same time, because I was trying to, get started as, on time, but then still get some videos in here. But it's so much in this image here. So that's why I want to really create an image that is a reflection of what the reality is. And one of the things we know about this wall, every world leader pretty much go and kiss this wall. Just like the world leaders go and kiss the Pope's ring.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah. So what is the cult of Baal? What is the cult of Baal? And there's so much to unpack, family. So much to unpack. We're going to have to break this up, but I just wanted to talk a little bit about this image that you see here. So much to go over. I mean, this right here tells the history, you know what I mean, of just the influence of these people. Look, you see here, capitalism, trade, global naval power. You see a number, Sodom and Gomorrah, but you just see some of the, the things that we are, as far as the areas of influence, and how a certain group of people was able to infiltrate and hijack cultures that never belonged to them. All right. So let me zoom this in. This is the entire diagram of Brain Scholar. I know I got to email this to you. Blame Sister Carol for not reminding me to email this to you. And also got to blame you for not, and I got to blame you for not reminding me to remind you to remind me to get this image to you.
I got my own. So ha 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 ha.
All right. So, and family, I really want you guys to understand, when you understand the cult of Baal, you have also the Bohemian, that Bohemian cult. That's the cult with the elites that's out there in California, doing all kinds of things. Have the owl, you have these things in our face. But a lot of times we focus on the low swing and the low hanging fruits, when we have this information right before our eyes. right before our eyes. So I was doing some research, following what's going on with MK Ultra and a lot of other things, you know, and was doing some research on Epstein, you know, and it was like, wow, I start seeing more and more uh, people that's part of this cult of Baal. So for me, I understand every mystical system has what they call a tree of life, and that's where you could really get an idea of what that mystical system is all about. So so I was able to research and get this tree of life here that's part of this particular system, and you'll see the foundation of it is still rooted in the 1948ers. All right. So I'm going to zoom in and I'll let you guys share your take on this. All right. I want to start off with this here so that way you can see it better and I can zoom it in even more. Let me see here. Yeah, hopefully I can. All right. There we go. Let me see. I want to start here. Now, can you guys see it? Is that better?
Yes.
Yes, I see it.
All right.
Up close and personal.
All right. So, family, type in some of the comment section your observations of what you see. Now, we can point out some of it because it's zoomed in, so we may not be able to read everything. But what do you guys think?
Go ahead.
The
Go ahead.
beginning. The beginning of the people who started this off. Canaanites, Sumerians, the Phoenicians, the children of Ham, Babylon being created, the pharaohs, Egypt, all Ham's children. And remember when Noah said that Canaan will be cursed? There it is.
You know, looking at
We're
this
going
and
to go ahead, Bryn.
looking at this chart and remembering some of the other information that we went over, the Canaanite, just like Sister Carol said, being everything started at the Tower of Bible, and when people started dispersing, part of Ham's son took most of those things down in Egypt. So you see the progression of the Baalism. It morphed into what they did in Egypt, and the tree is following it.
Mm-hmm.
And Assyria on the other side.
All right. And we're going to take it a step further because each one of these groups had their own systems that contradicted things of Torah. But the commonality of all of this is the people that are connected to Japheth hijacking all of this. See,
Yes.
when, you know, and I know you guys know this when you're studying the Romans, when you're studying the Greeks, you know, the one commonality you see is how they hijacked so much from other cultures, as far as the Egyptians, the Babylonians, the Sumers, right? Sumerians. You know, you see that they were hijacking other people's belief systems and incorporating it into theirs. So at the top, you see here, son of Belial, sons of Belial. So family, that is so so much of a trigger, because when you see son of Belial, you'll see, for example, what's his name, Benjamin, the descendants of Benjamin, the Benjamites.
Yeah.
When you study Judges, I believe, when you get to like chapter 19, I believe, and you read about the crooked Levitical priest, he married a woman that was a slave at one time, that was a indentured servant. You know, and he married her and he abused her. And what stands out is there was a group of people, right? A group of men, and this story is parallel to the story of what's his name, Lot, with his daughters and the angels knocking on the door saying they want the men to come out, asking Lot to send the men out so they can have their way with them, homosexuality. And that's what you see over here, Sodom and Gomorrah. So the sons of Belial, they were very perverted. It's a spirit. It's not a tribe. It's a perverted spirit. It deals with everything you would think of: homosexuality, pedophilia, you name it. It deals with all of the above. And even Hannah, when she was in the temple, said to Eli, like, look, I'm not a daughter, or I'm not a daughter of Belial, or or I'm not connected to that. Making it clear that she's on the altar, not because she was dealing with perversions, but because she was dealing with abuse at home, because her husband brought another woman into the marriage, and the woman became an adversary. That's a whole nother discussion. All right. So you see here, sons of Belial. Then over here, we see Brotherhood of the Snake. And at the top of these two platforms, we see Baal worship and we see human sacrifice. They bring that together through the Canaanites, but look at how the extension here, the tribe of Dan. Osiris, Nimrod, but the tribe of Dan. And I encourage you guys, really study Dan. And you'll see why they have this serpent here, Brotherhood of the Snake. I mean, they just really telling you in your face, in our face, in this diagram, it really exposes so much about where the connections of how they made it a point to hijack different cultures and form their own religion, their own belief system, and so forth. All right. Any comments, guys, as we get ready to move forward here? Any
Keep rolling,
things that you
brother.
observe on
Keep
here?
rolling.
You know, in family, it's so much here. Capitalism and trade, global naval power. Makes me think about the 1948ers bombing the Navy vessel back in the 60s and got away with it. An unarmed vessel they were able to bomb that was in international waters. They bombed it. They created an act of war on the United States and got away with it.
We looked the other way.
All right. You see here, Burning Man ritual. And this entire tree of life is an extension of the Kabbalah's, the 1948ers tree of life, which they call the Ein Sof. And I'll play a video here in a second, just so that way you guys can hear what it says about what they say about their own diagram. But I just wanted to highlight some things here, get you guys' thoughts on it. Okay. It's a lot, family. It's a lot. And so many layers. So many layers. So many layers. Okay. And I just went down a little lower here. I went to the bottom portion of it, right? This, when you start understanding these charts, right? This will be the torso right here. And this will be the reproductive organs here, right? Now, I'm going to play a video real quick. Let's see if I have it here. If it uploaded correctly, if it did, then we're good. And I'm going to play a video here. And I just really want you guys to really listen to it and as we unpack this. So let me go ahead and play. Yes, it uploaded. Here we go.
The major symbolic code found in the Zohar is the 10 aspects of God's personality, the 10 Sefirot. One popular interpretation shows these characteristics as a map of God's body. Kabbalists believe that if they can understand God's anatomy, they can learn how his powers work. These ancient drawings reveal that God's body is similar to humans. The top symbolizes God's head, which is the source of will, wisdom, and understanding. Below that are symmetrically arranged organs and limbs, representing love, power, beauty, eternity, and splendor. The most unusual part of the diagram contains sensual imagery. The ninth part of God, called the foundation, is the phallus, or procreative life force of the universe. But according to the Sefirot, God also has female components. The final element, often called Shekinah, was depicted as the feminine half of God.
So you guys caught that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
So when you take it a step further, and family, this stuff is real. This stuff is real. When I say it's real, this spiritual warfare is real. And down at this portion, of course, let me put my mouse over the Freemasons. You see the Jesuits, right? You see the Illuminati. You see the United States. Now, in that position of the reproductive organs, you see the Illuminati as the phallus, right? The Yesod, the foundational. And then we see the United States in the place of the Shekinah or Shekinah. And of course, in this area you see, and I'll zoom in. Let me zoom in so you guys can see, and you guys can share your observations as well. Let me zoom it in. And look at here, First Zionist Congress. All right, let's see here.
Eastern Star, Alvin Pike.
You see the Eastern Stars, right?
Mm-hmm.
Alvin Pike.
The
So let's see
Hellenization.
here. Eastern Stars, the Albert Pike. Oh, what do we see here? You see the Whig Party. Now, I'm not sure if you guys know what the Whig Party is, as far as those that are watching.
Yep.
That's the Republican Party before they took on the name of Republicans.
Mm-hmm.
There was the Whig Party. All right. So, and I'm not taking one side or the other. You guys already know I don't rock with none of those guys. They all part of this. They are all part of this. Okay. So you see, as Berean Scholar pointed out, you see the Eastern Stars. And just so happened is where? In the reproductive organ section of this diagram. Now, this has 12 Sephiros, but the Zionists, or should I say not the Zionists, but the 1948ers, I'll use that term, and their mysticism, their Jewish mysticism, you'll see that they have 10. All right, but it's still the same thing. This is still the reproductive organ of both male and female. So this is saying that this is a hermaphrodite. You see here Luciferianism, right? On this side, of course, you see the Jesuits, you see the Illuminati, you see the Scottish Rites, you see the Protestant movement, the Protestants, the Reformations, the Reformers, you know. It's so much to unpack here, family.
I see they mentioned by name Alexander Hamilton. To your left.
Yeah.
Then it goes down to J.P. Morgan, some of the financial.
The bankings, yeah.
Yeah.
And remember, J.P. Morgan spoke out about the Kanye West situation. And Kanye West, it took the courts to tell them they can't hold his money.
Right.
Because don't remember, during that whole situation, they was holding almost $100 million illegally.
Which is why he went out from the way he did. And
Yeah.
people will call him crazy until they finally let it go and they cut his money, and now he's right back a billionaire.
Yeah. Look at some key names right here. This is key right here. The Rothschilds.
There go the boys. Yep.
United Kingdom, the Scottish
Mm-hmm.
Rites, Suppression 1773, Act of 1871, District of Columbia. This is also the creation of DC.
Mm-hmm.
The Napoleon Wars. And there's a lot that we got wrong about Napoleon. I didn't know. I'm not sure if you guys know, but Napoleon was married to a sister.
Yeah, he was.
It was some things that learned about Napoleon. It's like, okay, didn't know that about him. As I really went back over researching him, because in schools, you just learn the surface stuff about him.
Correct.
And every image of us was whitewashed.
Yeah.
Had to.
So you see Albert Pike, you see Shriners, Islamic,
Mhm.
looks like Islamic clown, whatever, Masonry. I can't tell because that's kind of blurred. But family, to be a Freemason, all you have to do is believe that there's a higher power, basically.
Well, remember the founding fathers of this so-called country. Well, the so-called founding fathers. They were all Masons.
Absolutely.
And when they wrote their Torah, which is the Bill of Rights and the Constitution, it was based on Freemasonry rights for them. When you really think about it, that's what it was all about. They based those principles in the Bill of Rights and the Constitution of
Well,
the
they
Republic.
they tried to mimic the scriptures for us, the
Right.
covenant. So
Correct.
the commandment, the covenant that we have
Right.
is basically the Constitution is equivalent to that, what they made. I mean, they did
Right.
so much to mimic that, even to how identify how the terms of the Congress,
Mm-hmm.
the minimum requirement for the president of being
Yep.
a citizen of the state's born citizen
Right.
versus someone converted over, anyway. So yeah, to your point. But yeah, you see a lot of parallel here. But the key
Mm-hmm.
is when you really start unpacking this history, taking it a step further, you see the 1948ers busy. They was all
Mm-hmm.
involved in all of this stuff. You'll see their fingerprints throughout the history. Throughout the history. Berean Scholar, any comments?
I'm looking at some of this stuff. The founding fathers, like Sister Carol said, they had so many hands in the stuff that went over in Europe. That's on both sides of this chart.
Yeah.
like the bodies that were found out under Benjamin Franklin's house. His house is in Europe. They found numerous amount of skeletons in the underbelly of his house. Nobody knew about this. They said he was either working on them or using them for other occult rituals.
And see, we've been teaching that for years on top of years, not necessarily Benjamin Franklin situation, but the part that of the transatlantic world war, you don't hear the comments on. And that's they were doing performing all kinds of satanic rituals. That's the one thing that you don't hear about. And look at this here. Black nobility.
Mm-hmm.
That's the one that gets me.
So much to unpack, family. So much to unpack. So Baal worship on hilltops, right? Bamath, as sacred groves or by pillars, in other words, Asherah poles. And we can go to Jeremiah chapter 2, verse 20 and 21 with this being brought to Israel's attention. It says, "For old time I have broken thy yoke and burst thy bands, and thou sayest, I will not transgress. When upon every high hill and under every green tree thou wanderest playing the harlot." Now, before I continue, I want to play one more video about the Shekinah, just so that way you guys understand all of that is part of Jewish mysticism. Remember, I think it was like the early 2000s, is where you start really seeing the Shekinah glory, all kinds of groups, the Juanita Bynums and all of that was really sweeping all through the Christian church. Well, family, all of that comes from Jewish mysticism. Now, I'm going to share another thing, and it's going to tie into phallic worship. I'm going to share two videos. One is going to further explain what they do on that Wailing Wall, and then we're going to have another rabbi explain to you what Friday Night Special is, right? So let's start with Friday Night Special, and then we'll transition over. Actually, I'm going to continue with the Ein Sof, and then we'll do Friday Night Special, and then we'll elaborate on that.
The Wailing Wall is the seat of a satanic ritual outlined by the 13th century Jewish occult system known as the Kabbalah, as expounded in the Zohar and expanded upon by the 18th century Hasidic movement. You see, this so-called divine presence at the Wailing Wall is actually the Kabbalistic feminine emanation of their false god, the Shekinah. Watch closely how the rabbis thrust their pelvises and penises back and forth in a prescribed prayer movement called davening, in which the Jew copulates with the Shekinah in order to give birth to an erotic union with the Ein Sof, the Kabbalistic masculine emanation of their false god. Now watch this young Jewish boy who, instinctively knowing that davening is a lewd and embarrassing act, just can't bring himself to perform the thrusting of his pelvis.
One of the great Tzfat rituals was the rite, the cult, shall I say, of the Shekhinah and the cult of the divine marriage. Now, people don't really think about this when they go to temple in America and rise at the end of a certain hymn and bow and sing, "Come, O bride, come, O bride." But in fact, the Tzfat Kabbalists viewed the Friday night service and meal as a wedding feast, when the divine parts of God above unified with the earthly feminine aspect of God in the world, the Shekhinah, and they had sexual union on Friday night. And this has survived into general Jewish practice to this day.
Wow.
So he's making it clear the origins of Friday night service, even though in the Catholic Church and even in some Protestant churches, they have a Friday night service. The source of that came from Judaism, where, as he pointed out, the divine parts come together. The Ein Sof, right, far as being hermaphrodite, right, but the Ein Sof copulates with the Shekinah. And so when you see them davening, that's not praying. And you can see the influence of that on many within the church. How many people you've seen praying and rocking like that? That is a sexual ritual to produce the anointing.
Right.
All right. So take all of that, and that ties into, as he said, the cult of Shekinah. You notice we keep hearing these terms, cults.
Yep.
He said the cult of Shekinah. And we see that cult of the Shekinah have such an influence on the Christian church. If you just type in Shekinah right now, you'll see all kinds of ministries in church called themselves Shekinah Glory Ministries or Shekinah Glory Women's Group. You'll see that name all through it.
And you pointed it out, Pastor, because it's a women's group in churches. I know that it was started by women, that were Shekinah glory. I know personally.
And I want to give shout outs to Yaquaba for the super chat. Is this I can't pronounce this. Is this Margie?
Marjorie.
Am I saying it
Marjorie.
right?
Marjorie.
Excuse me. All right. I think I'm trying to pronounce it a different way. I don't want to butcher the name. Marjorie. Okay. All right. Want to show some love to both of you guys and family. Let's show some love to both of them for the love and support. The super chats. Really appreciate you guys for sewing into what we're doing. Really appreciate it. All right. Apologies for butchering the name. My apologies. But anyway, so let's get back to this here, right? And this is all still tying into the worship of Baal, because the worship of Baal, that's where you get into Ashereth, the groves, all that other stuff. And you'll see, even in the book of Judges, Israel had a addiction to Baal. They kept, as you see here, wandering, right? You know, when you read the book of Judges, there was multiple captivities just in the book of Judges. For them, what? Going into this stuff here, addicted to Baal worship. So it says here, verse 20, for old time I have broken thy yoke, burst thy bands, thou sayest, I will not transgress. So the Most High is taking them out of this situation. They say, you know what? We're not going to do this anymore. But look at this here. When upon every high hill and under every green tree thou wanderest playing the harlot. So it's saying out of one breath, you're saying you're not going to do this anymore. And before you can even finish the sentence, you're doing it again. So upon every high hill, what this means is upon every high hill, under every green tree, this is where they built altars at. And they were performing these sexual rituals. Right? So by the time you get to chapter 10, instead of going, on these high hills under every green tree, what they're doing now is they took that tree and cut it down and brought it into their homes. So now they're under the tree in their homes. This is where you get into the gifts under the tree. They're in the tree now under their home. Inside their home under the tree, performing sexual rituals, temple prostitution. So under every green tree thou wanderest playing the harlot. Verse 21. Yet I had planted thee a noble vine, holy, a right seed. How then art thou turned into the degenerate plant of a strange vine unto me? In other words, foreign. So Israel became unrecognizable to the Most High. Mm-hmm. We start looking like the foreigners, the strangers. And that's the playbook even today, to make us look like strangers. We embrace the things that's foreign to us. Now we become what? This degenerate plant. Look at the behaviors you see that's inside the so-called, like they would say, the black church per se, that's happening in the Catholic church. All the perversions. We see it all the time. We just I uploaded a video the other day. Same guy that got caught 14, 15 years ago doing the same thing.
Yep.
Any comments, guys?
He's just the one that got caught. And you're right, Pastor. We're walking right into the same demonic tendencies that our forefathers did, because we're not coming out from among them.
Absolutely. Go ahead, Sister Carol.
Which is why he's going to separate those who are righteous from those who are unrighteous, because this is the last stop. And everywhere we've gone, we've done the exact same thing. And now it's at the end, and he's getting ready to separate the righteous from the unrighteous. And you can tell who the unrighteous is immediately. Absolutely. Now that we understand all of this.
And I'm glad you pointed it out, Pastor, because that's why it's important that we be careful who we listen to. Like on last night, the gentleman who was spreading those thing about Murdoch. He found something he thought was new information, new secret information that he some of the people in the church say, I got a new revelation, but it's coming from a source that's demonic.
Yeah.
And he spread it to our people.
Yeah.
And like the people I told you I knew that they found that from a Messianic priest by the Shekinah, and they went on with the Shekinah thing. The glory that came, the glory that came on Moses and all this. I heard all that thing about that. The songs that came out about Shekinah.
Yeah. And my wife would tell you guys that I couldn't listen to that stuff. This is before I even knew about all what we're teaching. It gave me a headache, literally. Whenever she'd play Juanita Bynum or that group called Shekinah Glory, and anyone, Martha Munizzi, they gave me a headache, literally. I would have to say, hey, I can't listen to this stuff. It's giving me, literally, it would give me a headache. And I can understand why now. It was like the Most High was like warning me.
Yep.
Ahead of time. And here it is, I'm teaching on it. And so when you think about this, like this court of Baal, these are some of the things about it that comes with the territory. Ritual prostitution, which is linked with fertility rites to ensure crops and livestock abundance. Now, this is where you start getting into like these rituals would normally be performed in what we would call March, what we would call around the time of the spring equinox.
Correct.
This is when they would start performing these rituals. So 9 months later, now you get into the solstice. Now their deity is born. Their Messiah is born, right? This is where you get the Christian church taking from these different groups to create December 25th as a time of worship or acknowledgement of their Christ, because the Messiah was not born on December 25th. But it all ties into this system right here. So ritual prostitution, which is linked to fertility rites to ensure crops and livestock abundance. Some strands of Baal worship included sacrificing children often by fire. Jeremiah chapter 7, verse 18. See how look at what's happening here, family. When you start dealing with these perverted spirits, it gets worse. You can never get, it's like your flesh will never get satisfied. It's going to always want more. Verse 18, the children gathered wood and the fathers kindled the fire, and the women knead their dough to make cakes, to make cookies and milk for Santa Claus. Is that what it say?
Wow.
Oh, I'm sorry. It says make cakes to the Queen of Heaven, to pour out drink offerings, milk, right, unto other deities, that they may provoke me to anger. Verse 19, do they provoke me to anger, saith Yahweh? Do they provoke themselves to the confusion of their own faces? Therefore, thus saith Yahweh Elohim, behold, my anger and my fury shall be poured out upon this place, upon man, upon beast, upon the trees of the field, and upon the fruit of the ground, and it shall burn, and shall not be quenched. This is deep, family. So the children gathered the wood. So think about this, family. A lot of this is tied into, notice my notes up here, Norsemen celebrated the birthday of their Lord Frey at the nadir of the sun in the darkest winter, known to them as Yule. That Yule is symbolic of what? Children's sacrifice. Passing what? The child through the fire. I'm sure every last one of us that grew up in the 70s and the 80s, you saw that around Christmas time, or normally it's on the 24th, the night before Christmas, all the major channels will have that Yule log burning inside the fireplace.
Yes, they did.
Yep, 24/7.
Yep. Absolutely.
And it's more to it, family, than just what many think it is. It's far more to it. So what is the meaning of the children gathered their wood? This is coming from a source here, Traditions of Eden, or Proof of the Historical Truth of the Pentateuch, 1871, page 163. A farther confirmation and illustration of these facts is found in the customs of the Christmas Yule log. The word Yule is the Chaldean term for an infant or child, and hence it was that Christmas Day was called among the heathens Yule Day or the Child's Day. And the night before Christmas, in other words, Mother Night. All right. So Israelites at times, unfortunately, mixed Baal worship with Yahweh's worship, and they were condemned by the prophets. So the Israelites, they repeatedly fell into Baal worship. Both Jeremiah, Hosea, you could go right down the list, condemned Baal as a counterfeit, drawing Israel into harlotry against Yahweh. And just as a Berean scholar pointed out, what we were dealing with yesterday, with the gentleman wanting to push this Melchizedek is what is it? Murdoch or
Murdoch.
whatever. Marduk, or however you want to pronounce it. Want to say that's Melchizedek. That's Shem. And Jeremiah 50:2 shuts it down and points out that that deity is pointing to Baal. So what does it mean to ride to golden? Before we get there, any comments, guys?
Speak for itself.
Yeah, I'm shaking my head because all this revealed what was was going on in the church. We knew that because we all got wrapped up in those traditions of men, but it's still going on with us as a people now in the awakening.
Well, this shows you the simulation of what the Roman Catholic Church did when they created Christianity. This just shows you what Constantine did. He took all of those pagan rituals from all these groups and made it into the rituals of how Christianity will be dispersed out to among the world.
And you know, we got to take it a step further, because as we go into the Jewish sources, they all doing the same thing.
Yes.
And so and to your point, right, take it a step further, when you look at this chart, right, of the cult of Baal, that's a universal system. Because now they're tapping into everything and bringing it under one doctrine, basically.
One mind.
So it's so much, family, that to unpack, so much to unpack. You know, so much to unpack. And let me see here. I was trying to load up this video here, and that way we could get more information on the Ein Sof. I think it's this one right here. All right, fam, I'm gonna load this one up. So I want you guys to, as we progress, we'll load up as we are discussing this the information, and I'll try to upload videos in the process so you can hear some of the deceptive teachings of the doctrines of the 1948ers that even many of our brothers and sisters in this awakening are transitioning over to, jumped out of Christianity and Catholicism and jumped right out of the frying pan right into the fire of more deception. Any comments, guys, before I'm actually right now, I'm going to try to upload this video.
Well, you know where this came from. Resistance is futile.
Oh, yeah, the Borg.
Exactly.
Oh, man, that's right. You know you can't pull one over on me, man. No, just
because it's when you see it, it's all wrapped up. You try to break away, and you jump out from one demonic source into another demonic source. And that's why the Most High insists us to come out from them, be ye separate. Don't get anywhere around. Don't touch anything of them, because they're trying to corrupt. Don't touch the leaven.
Absolutely.
To corrupt you.
Any comments, Sister Carol?
No, go right on.
So this is another thing we want to deal with when we start dealing with this Baal worship. I'm not sure if you guys heard this term before. Ride the goat. Ride the goat. Now, if you was in the Freemasonry circles, you've heard that before. You know what that means. But I'm going to show you it wasn't just in the Freemason circles. I'm just going to show you the influence of it, and we're going to see the demonic the demonic behaviors that come with the territory. All right. So before we break this down, let me let you guys hear another rabbi as he further expounds on the Ein Sof, because that's the deity they worship. They don't worship Yahweh. They worship their deity is called the Ein Sof. Listen real close here.
But the Zohar insists on reading the words in the precise order in which they appear in Hebrew. Bereshit, in the beginning. Bara, it created. Elohim, God. In the beginning, it created God. The Zohar takes that to mean, in the beginning, infinity created God. Now, what could that possibly mean? God is now the object of the verse, not the subject, which sounds impossible or heretical, but the Zohar, I think, is saying that infinity is the true reality of God. Anything else that we call God is puny compared to that. That's our own imagination or our own estimate of what God could be. That's our own imagination or our own estimate of what God could be.
That's our own imagination or our own estimate of what God could be.
It doesn't do justice to the true reality of God. So infinity brought about all that we think of as God. And for the Zohar, that's the meaning of the opening of Genesis. In the beginning, infinity created what we call God.
Family, this stuff is serious. I just hope you guys really grab hold of this. This stuff is serious. This stuff is not to be played with. It is serious. And many of us, of our brothers and sisters, are being sucked into it by way of the language.
Thank you. Thank
When
you.
you start studying what you think is Hebrew, which is not ancient Hebrew, they suck you in. When you take these Hebrew classes, they are introducing you to the Talmudic doctrines. And before you know it, you can be sucked right into it. Now, I want to make this clear because some are confused. Like, wait a minute. Yeah, Yiddish, Yiddish, the Hebrew is Yiddish. But many don't make the connection that what you think is biblical Hebrew is not biblical Hebrew in terms of the pronunciation, the phonology of it. Because the ancient Hebrew did not have dots. It didn't have vowel letters. It used what we would call today Paleo Hebrew letters, not this Syriac block letters with this Nakud system or this Matrice Lectionis system. And the pronunciations was not where it is today. They did not have all the vowels that you see here today.
Correct.
It only had one vowel sound. And matter of fact, before we do that, let me play a clip here for those that don't know. The O's, there was no, I'm going to let you hear a professor teaching Hebrew, right? Supposedly teaching Hebrew. I'll say it that way. I'll just say the Israeli language. He's teaching the Israeli language, but listen to what he says about the O, the colon va, which makes the O sound.
Here's a chart that summarizes vowel class and length. And you can see across the top the three classes, A, E, and U. And then down the side the four lengths, long, medium, short, and very short. So let's just go over this chart. We'll start with the A class vowels. The long vowel is cholam vav, and you'll recall that this says O as in snow. Now you might wonder why an O vowel is in the A class, and this is because of historical considerations. Originally, there was no O sound in Hebrew. Everything that
Did you guys hear that?
Yes.
It said originally there
Mm-hmm.
was no O sound in Hebrew. So when you understand the diminution rather of the vowels, the stretching of the vowels, right? The O sound, the U sound comes from the O sound. So when you say A-E-I-O-U, those are actually the different manipulations or modifications or stretching or of the original vowel ah. That's pretty much the sequence of the manipulations of it. So it started with the ah. That's the original sound. So because you're reading in what you think is Hebrew, is Israeli language, they just took that language, they just took the phonology and they what? Ported it over to the scriptures. And so now when you see what you think is biblical Hebrew, you see these dots, you see this new code system. Let me see. Do I have one of my Bibles here? I'm looking at my I see the Septuagint. That's not the Hebrew one. I got a Hebrew book of prayer. I will show it to you guys so you can see it, but I don't have it in my office here. I think I have it in another space, but I just wanted to show it to you guys. That's not biblical Hebrew. Just because you taking the ancient biblical text and then you're transliterating it using Syriac language as far as the block letters, and then you placing the modern phonology over it. Any comments, guys?
You're absolutely correct.
That's where the system, the false start of the system comes in and try to entangle us again. Like you said, you see a brother getting free, and we get caught up with people teaching that this is the ancient language, our ancient language, and all of this entangles us back to the people who's trying to deceive us.
Well, it's the whole purpose to remove our language, so we wouldn't recognize our language anymore and take on their language. So the more you destroy a foundational language, the further you're away from it, to the point where you don't remember it. And here we are speaking a spell called English.
Before I came into the Waking, I didn't take a Hebrew class, but I did study some Hebrew. So I thought that was Hebrew. But when I was learning from people who knew more than me. I didn't resist it. I just went and checked and verified what I was learning. I didn't fight it like you see some people fight it. No, you're wrong, because they don't want to learn. They don't want truth. They're part of that spirit that's behind that.
And to that point, I've been teaching this, and Sister Carol, since the time you first met me. Remember when I was teaching identity?
Yes.
And I would say, what is identity? Land, family, and tongues.
Right.
Right. And teaching right out the scriptures. So many of you guys that may be new on the scene, you probably hear people using that very teaching right now. You just probably don't know. Actually, that teaching started with me in this awakening. I'm not trying to, sound, take all, take credits and all that. I'm just using that as an example that we've been teaching this for years. And that's the revelation that I share teaching the ancient Hebrew. But to that point, right, when you hear this rabbi say what he says, confirming this, it's like the Most High, man. I want to go like Oprah Winfrey on Color Purple. I know there's a God. I know there's a God when I seen this ceiling. No, let me stop. So listen to what he says.
That's what the Zionists did, except instead of a baseball team, they went to try to convince the Jews that the Jewish people are a nation, like France and like Spain. We'll get a land, that's Israel, that's our stadium. We'll get baseball bats and balls, we'll create a language. They sat down to create a language because nations need languages. They sat down to create a language because nations need languages. They sat down to create a language. They sat down to create a language.
They sat down to create a language.
And there it is. He said it.
And see, I've been teaching this for quite some time. And he literally echoed what I've been teaching for 10 years.
Mm-hmm.
And that's right. Someone pointed out that you never called it rabbinic Judaism. That's right. Never, never. And we're proving that you don't need this stuff in order to learn this truth. You don't, anyone that says that the name still is the 1948ers preserved our preserved the Torah, so to speak, preserved the scriptures. They are teaching you a delusion. Actually, they perverted it. They added more layers of confusion to it. Many of our brothers and sisters, you guys will see it. They'll start off learning that Israeli language, and many of them, I would say, probably at a 70% rate, before you know it, they deny the Messiah. I've seen it over and over again. So he made it clear. They sat down to create a language because what? Nations need languages. And not only did he say that, he said, look at what he said. And then we get to the writing to go. Look at what he said to top it off.
The religion created the Jewish people. The definition of a Jewish person is somebody who is transformed by receiving the Torah.
He said religion created the Jewish people. He's telling us to our face.
Yep, the whole story.
But what happens is, like me and Berean Scholar, we talk about this offline, and Sister Carol and some of the people that's connected with me. It's like when they tell you to your face what they have done, we want to say, no, they're not telling the truth.
Yeah.
Right.
No, it's almost like, no, they don't mean that. They don't mean that. I know what they're saying.
Exactly.
No, they don't mean that. Like with Donald Trump, or everything he said he was going to do at the time. Now, that's just Trump being Trump. He's not going to really do what he says he's going to do. And what is he doing?
He's telling you exactly what he's going to do.
He's telling you exactly what he's doing. And no, he does. No, that's just Trump being Trump. So it's the same thing, family. They're telling you exactly what they have done, and there's no reservation. They pumping their chest out on
Because nobody's going to call them out on it. That's why. That's
But
why. That's why we are so their language that they created. Our people love it because they think they're learning Hebrew language. But if you tell them that's not Hebrew language, they get angry with you. Oh, that's not true. This is the Hebrew language because these people created it.
And one last thing. Go ahead, Berean Scholar.
I mean, so it accomplishes desired effect, confusion. And Yah is not the author of confusion. That's why we have brothers and sisters who are saying Yahweh, Yahuwah, using the U's, and if you know that that is not the language, why use it?
And see, that was going to be my next point.
Sorry,
I'm gonna go Chuck Knight on you, all up in the videos. Right now, I'm just messing with you.
That's because I'm wearing my medallion tonight.
And this is not trying to throw shade at anyone, but I'm gonna play a video to you real quick. I'm gonna tell you who really helped push a name that many of you guys are using. Is this guy right here.
Hitler was, and the Nazis, of course, expanded on Margaret Sanger's approach to eugenics, right? Eugenics was a movement that was born in the United States under hard doctrines of racism with the intent of eliminating the tribe of Judah in the African-American community in this country, right? To eliminate them. With the intent of eliminating the tribe of Judah, with
the intent of eliminating the tribe of Judah in the African American community in this country, right? To eliminate them.
So that guy is the reason why you see so many of our brothers and sisters using the word Yahuwah. Because of his Sefer book. And that's the reason why they don't call it a Bible, because they didn't go through the proper, how can I put it, the proper steps. Because, when you're dealing with Bible translations, there's a legal proper steps that you have to go by to make sure that you're meeting certain points. You're not just using the term Bible and and your thing is way out of your book is way out in left field. That it's vetted. You have whatever standards. I can't remember the template that you have to follow. I used to know all that stuff, but we'll talk about it at a different time. So he created that Sefer Bible strictly for this awakening. And I'm going to drop a link inside the comment section and inside the chat. And I want you guys to go back and go over this link here because I created a template, right? And Berean Scholar tell you, and a few other people that know me. I created a template, so now I use this template. I can use this template to comb through, kind of do an analysis on any Bible translation. So I dropped the link. Did I drop? Yeah, I dropped the link.
Did.
So you can go to that link and read that link. Don't automatically start trying to debate me on it. Just read the link. Read the link, read the details of it. And you see, I went, Berean Scholar tell you, you have this link, Berean Scholar. I don't think Sister Carol have this one, but went detailed line by line. Now, that same guy, go ahead.
When I was aware of this link, and this is what I'm saying, because it's people in the chat sitting link, please click it right now. When you sent it to me, I went through it, read it, and then I even tried to verify it myself. I mean, I told you about that, right?
Yeah.
And everything came up, and it showed that these things that we're talking about now with these crafty council who is worship, this links right back to them. So if the authors of the language is connected to these translation, it's the same stuff, and we should come out of that too and don't touch it. Be separate, the Most High.
And so, last point, family, that guy, that CEO of the Sefer Bible, now he refers to himself as being part of the tribe of Judah. Yeah. Now he's Judah. So let's continue, family. All right. Just, now that we had our commercial break, let's return to our regularly scheduled program. All right. So let's deal with this here. What does it mean to ride the goat? What does it mean to ride the goat? Encyclopedia of Freemasonry. Goat riding, right? Riding the goat. The vulgar idea, riding the goat, constitutes a part of the ceremonies of initiation in a Masonic lodge. And family, don't let them fool you. They still use this term to this day. But they'll tell you, oh, no, that was just something. No, they don't do it anymore. No, they still use this. They still use this term. Riding the goat as part of your initiation. The vulgar idea, riding the goat, constitutes a part of the ceremonies of initiation of a Masonic lodge, has its real origins in the superstition of antiquity. The old Greeks and Romans portrayed their mystical god Pan in horns and hoofy and shaggy hide and called him goat-footed. That's right, family. What you see of Peter Pan, the true Pan, and the equivalent, the equivalent to Pan is Satan, Hasatan. As you see here, has horns. The Baphomet, the goat of Mendez, Baal. We could go right down the list. The goat demon, Pan and horns and hoof and shaggy hide, and called him goat-footed. When the demonology of the classics was adopted and modified by the early Christians, Pan gave way to Satan, who naturally inherited his attributes, so that to the common mind, the devil was represented by a he-goat, and his best known marks were the horns, the beard, and the cloven hoofs. Then the witch stories of the Middle Ages, and the belief in the witch orgies where it was said the devil appeared riding on a goat. These orgies of the witches were amid fearfully blasphemous ceremonies. They practiced initiation into their satanic rites, became to the vulgar and the illiterate the type of Masonic mysteries. For Dr. Oliver says it was in England a common belief that the Freemasons were accused in their lodges to raise the devil. And I think it's still some videos out here that you may be able to do, Google, and you'll see them doing some prostitution type rituals riding a goat. Common belief is a belief that Freemasonry was accustomed in their lodges to raise the devil. So the riding of the goat, which was believed to be practiced by the witches, was transferred to the Freemasons. And the saying remains to this day, although the belief has long since died out. And guess what, family? The Jehovah's Witnesses, they promote riding the goat. Let me expose this here. This is the influence of Freemasonry on the founders of the Jehovah's Witnesses. So ultimately, the influence of Judaism, the ultimate influence of of the Kabbalah, Jewish mysticism. Some Jehovah's Witnesses will argue that Charles Russell was not a Mason. He's the founder of the Jehovah's Witnesses. Let's go to the Watchtower, 1920, page 2. Right now, before I go into this source, what's some of the things that stands out about this particular watchtower?
Same symbols we saw on the chart.
Same symbols you saw on the chart. And guess what? You see the Knights of the Templar.
You see the square?
Yep.
Wow.
You see the Church of the Latter-day Saints. You see Mormonists. All of them are Freemasons. Have you ever looked at, just really paid attention to their churches, like the Mormon church? It looks like a federal building, doesn't it?
Yep. No
it's a
windows.
Masonic lodge.
Correct.
Exactly.
They have Masonic rituals. If I had the clips right now, because I got the clips, but I just didn't think about it, I would have uploaded some of those clips. So you see the Knights of the Templar right here. And that's why you see the
shield,
the helmet and shield,
helmet.
and the weaponry here.
Yep.
And look at how they put the compass here to make it look like it's lightning.
Correct.
And that's one thing you'll notice about Jehovah's Witnesses when you look at the Watchtower and all of that. They're very good with putting images and symbols in the covers of it. You have to really look at it to pay attention. Everything is symbolic on there. Okay. But look at that crown with the cross in it.
Templar. Yep.
Symbols.
Family, Hasatan is not playing. The Knights of the Templar. This is Charles Tage Russell at the convention reports. This is documented here. I obtained all of this when I was going through really teaching against the Jehovah's Witnesses ages ago, man. Hard to believe it's been that long ago since I created this slide, right, Sister Carol? It's been a while, right?
Yeah, it's been a good while.
I did this teaching. So 1906 to 1916, time is flying, family. Time is flying. So the Temple of God, Charles Tage Russell, Convention Reports, 1906, 2016. And look at what it says. I am very glad to have this particular opportunity of saying a word about some of the things in which we agree with our Masonic friends. Now, he's given this speech inside a Masonic lodge. They're having a convention inside a Masonic hall. Because we are speaking in a building dedicated to Masonry, and we also are Masons. I am a Freemason. I'm a free and accepted Mason. And this is all the jargon right here. If I, these the buzzwords with Freemasonry. He said, "I'm a free and accepted Masons." That's what Freemasonry. I mean, real Masons. They would say that. They'll say they are free accepted Mason. If I may carry the matter to its full length, because that is what our Masonic brethren like to tell us, that they are free and accepted Masons. This is their style of putting it. Now I'm a free Mason. I'm a free and accepted Mason. I trust we all are. I said that I have been in the conference with the great master workman, the Lord himself. These are Masonic buzzwords right here. And I have the secret information through the Holy Spirit. No, this is not Holy Spirit. This is another spirit that you call in the Holy Spirit. And guidance in respect to what the Bible says, and that contains all the truth, I believe, on every subject. But now I am talking about this great order of Masonry, of which Jesus is the Grand Master. This order is to be entered in a peculiar way. There are certain conditions: the low gate, the narrow way, the difficult path. It is in riding the goat. There it is, family. It is in riding the goat, etc. And the Bible calls for the goat. The Bible tells you that your goat, which you have to ride more or less every day, is your own flesh. You see, I tried to put a spin on it. Our Masonic friends have it down very fine. Now, this is his gravesite, family.
Wow.
This is his gravesite.
He's letting it be known who he worships.
And remember now, these rituals came from Egypt. They did the same sexual sacrificial rituals of riding the goat back then. They just took those rituals and incorporated into their own things that they did.
Well, think about it. To your point, where did the Israelites learn how to create a goat demon?
Yeah, from Egyptians.
And guess what songs they were singing? The songs that they learned in Egypt.
Yes.
And they were having carnival.
Yes.
They had a parade.
Yes.
For those that don't know, when you go to a parade, right, those movable floats, those are actual altars. Look at this. Just look up the history of a parade. Those movable altars, that's what they really are. Those floats are really movable altars. That's what the Israelites were doing. They took this goat demon and put it on a movable altar and start parading it around. And when you read it, it says Israel rose up and start gyrating. They started having carnival. Anyway, Sister Carol instigating.
Hey, I love me. You love me a Mardi Gras.
Now look at this here. That's why I put that here so you could just so you could see the Knights of the Templar. Look at what you see here. Connected to who? The Khazarians. You see the Kabbalah. Look at it, and look at the center here of the midsection here, Vatican City. You see Vatican, Council of Nicaea. Man, they just showing that, man, they have their hands on everything. They hijacking everything. And that's why they have so much manipulation.
And little Lana says Hellenization.
What's that now? I'm sorry, sis.
So you see the line, you see the connector says Hellenization. What brings to your mind when you hear that? Hellenization. Think about it for a moment. Who's the Hellenization?
The corruption of our people.
The Black Greek letter organization, the Divine Nine, the Pan Hellenization group.
Oh yeah.
I thought you was dealing with the mayonnaise.
Oh man.
I'll just mess with you, sis.
Nope.
What's that, Hell's mayonnaise or something like that or whatever?
Hellman's.
Oh no.
Hellman's, yeah, I'm just butchering.
Oh,
That was a bad joke.
No.
I'm just a bad joke.
Yep. Where's the buzzer?
Womp, womp, womp.
Sandman, right?
Really, where's the gong show? Hit the gong. Take my
Oh, you
stage.
took it to the Gong Show.
Yeah, the gong show. That was my show there, boy.
But here's the thing: this chart shows how that web has been weaved to catch us and our people. So I mean, looking at the chat, how somebody when we was talking about the language that come out, they say, "Well, I can't change the name anymore." You know, no disrespect. And I know you didn't mean this disrespect, but that's the thing about it. When I was a child, I spoke as a child, I act like a child. But when I became a man, I learned more. And I
Correct.
changed. No matter how much I changed, if you learn that you were deceived, please look at the information yourself, because this stuff right here is not just the language, it's the practices, it's the rituals, it's the celebration. All this stuff is stuff to catch us into a web that lead us away from the Most High.
And I want to show you guys something here. You have the Knights Templar, and you see what next to it? The Baphomet.
Baphomet, that's the goat demon.
Family, these guys are not playing. These guys are not playing. So who is the goat demon in the scriptures? We're going to circle back to that. Leviticus 17, verse 7. And they shall no more offer their sacrifices unto devils, Sha'ayar, after whom they have gone a whoring. They shall be a statute forever unto them throughout their generations. And this is the Message Bible of that translation of that same verse. Just so you guys, I'm doing this so you guys can see how it reads in different translations. It says here, they must no longer offer their sacrifices to goat demons, a kind of religious orgy. This is a perpetual decree down through the generations. The NIV, they must no longer offer any of their sacrifices to the goat idols, right? And it goes on to say, to whom they prostitute themselves. So we see that Israel, Yah's people, is not supposed to be dealing with this Babylonian system, this spirit of Baal. But yet we got brothers and sisters in the church still embracing that Baal system, starting with the regalia that's being worn. That's it. We could talk about the regalia. Make me think about Achan, right? He had garments that he wasn't supposed to wear. Stole them. Anyway, let me leave that alone.
You're going deep, brother.
So the Hebrew definition of devils, it says here, shaggy, a he-goat, that's the key. A goat, that's a he-goat or a goat. Devil, goat, hairy, kid. All right? Who is this biblical goat demon? Leviticus 18, verse 21. And thou shalt not let any of thy seed pass through the fire to Molech, the ancient Hebrew Malach. Neither shalt thou profane the name of Elohim, thy Elohim. I am Yahweh. So this is a commandment. This is making it clear Israel not to get involved in this satanic worship, to get involved in this stuff. Now, guess what? There's different ways of sacrificing your child into what? Passing your child through the fire to Moloch. Starting with understanding the shield. The shield of what? These different organizations. These Greek letter organizations, guess what? They have shields that you are pledging your life to. Have you heard this term? The NFL is a fraternity.
Yep.
The NBA is a fraternity.
Yep.
Major League Baseball is a fraternity.
Yep.
You know, and you start getting into what's that? I can't remember, what's the league for the kids that they get part of as they learn in sports?
The Pee Wee League.
No, it's not called Pee Wee.
AAU.
It's another name.
AAU.
AAU. Yeah.
Now, when I was younger, we didn't have AAU. You know what I mean? You just went out to the
Yeah, you go to the
basketball
park.
court. You know what I mean? You played tackle football on concrete with no equipment.
Yep.
So There's different ways of passing your child to the fire. When I look at R. Kelly's situation, those parents sacrificed their children. They knew that man wasn't right. The parents should be in jail right along with him. He shouldn't have been the one taking all the rap by himself. What about the parents? They sacrificed their children. They allowed their seed to pass through the fire. What about Puff Daddy? Usher's parents knew what was going on with him, and what did they do?
They took the money
Handed
and
them over.
Handed him over. Justin Bieber's parents knew what Puffy was all about. They allowed their children to be compromised because what they sacrificed them. They passed their seeds through the fire to Moloch. We could take it a step further. Many parents know that the pastor is crooked, but they let their children go spend the night over the child's house. I mean, that crooked pastor's house.
Mm-hmm.
And what happened? You end up finding out the pastor done touched them and did all kinds of crazy stuff. Man, you could go to a channel called Dawson's Channel or
Oh
whatever,
yeah.
Dawson's, whatever.
Yeah.
Man, it's like almost every other day he's posting stuff about situations like that.
Right.
I am Dawson and I won't hold back.
That's right. He don't. He don't. He let it all out.
Come on, family.
But in Hollywood, if you want to be a starlet, if you will, you have to pass your child through. Look what they did to Shirley Temple.
Oh, look at, man. You know what's the saddest one? When you study, what's her name? Dorothy Hamilton.
Mm-hmm.
The girl that
Yes.
played not Dorothy. What's her name? She played Dorothy, but it's not Dorothy Hamilton. I think she was an ice skater. Who played Dorothy? I can't remember the lady. Judy
Reservoir?
Garland.
Judy
Garland.
Judy Garland, yeah.
When you read the story on her, how
Yes.
she was getting harassed and molested
Mm-hmm.
on set by
Yep.
all of those. I mean, from the Munchkin guys, the people playing the Munchkins and all, they were doing all kinds of stuff to her. That's
Yep.
why she went into drinking at an early age and
Yep.
drugs at the early age.
Absolutely.
She got passed through the fire.
Mm-hmm.
Look at Michael Jackson. Now, he never got proven to doing anything, and I want to make sure we're clear. I'm not throwing stones, but parents was hoping that he did. By what? Allowing their children to be with him.
Correct.
So, nevertheless, thou shalt not let any of thy seed pass through the fire to Molech. Neither shall thou profane the name of thy Elohim, which I am Yahweh. The goat demon is Molech. And this is different variations of it. This is the one that Eliphaz Levi drew here, the Baphomet here, right? Which is a hermaphrodite. As you can see the breast here, family. The signs, the hand signals that he's putting up here. You see the goat of Mendez, right? And this is when you understand when you say in the belly of the beast, right? Because there were statues like this, and they would this is the furnace that they would put human sacrifices in.
And you know what? If you take that chart and overlay it on top of that, you see him in that chart, in that diaphragm.
Yeah, and that's the whole purpose of that diagram. That diagram is supposed to
Mm-hmm.
be the body, just like the Ein Sof, right? Well, the Ten Sifra is supposed to be the diagram, the body of their deity. To Sister Carol's point. All right.
She's starting to see the code.
All right. Let me just fast forward here. So the Oxford Dictionary definition of the religion definition of Molech, right? The Oxford Dictionary of the Jewish religion definition of Molech, right? And this is and I'll just say to you guys, those that are watching, you're going to have to invest in your walk, right? Now, some of these books is going to be costly, right? But let me show you this book right here. Let me pull it over here. I just did a lot of rearranging of my office, but let me show you guys this book. This is the book.
Yep. I have that book.
This book right here exposes so much about the 1948ers. All right, let me put this book back. You may have to spend what, about $150 to $200 for that book. I'm not sure how much it costs now. All right, but that's their purpose of jacking up prices to hope to discourage our brothers and sisters from purchasing these books. All right, but let's see what it says about Molech. Semitic deity worshipped in biblical times, known from Ugaritic and Mesopotamian sources as Malik. It is likely that Molech figure among the Chthonic gods, that is, those associated with death in the underworld. According to biblical tradition, Molech was worshipped by means of child sacrifice, a practice abhorred and strictly forbidden by Israelite belief and law. But look at what it says here. Child sacrifice is condemned in the Bible without mention of the god Molech. Now, didn't I just show a scripture with Molech's name there?
Mm-hmm.
See, I pay attention to little details like this because it's no coincidence with that saying, with that being posted there, with that reading the way that it read. It says the worship of Molech are found in Leviticus 18:21 and Leviticus 20, verse 2 through 5. Sacrificing to Molech is called whoring after him. All right. So it said child sacrifice is condemned in the Bible without mention of the god Molech. Well, let's go here. I think let me go back here, but I'm gonna show you how the Talmud promotes the worship of the goat demon. But let's go back here. My mouse is acting up.
Pastor, is that the first edition or second edition?
This book?
Mm-hmm.
Let me see. Bear with me 1 second. It must be the first edition. Yeah, it has to be the first edition because it doesn't say any editions on it.
Pick it up here.
Yeah, it's the first edition.
And the second edition is $225.
Yeah, mine's the first edition as well.
So let me put this up here. So family, let's see here. I was going to go back here. Leviticus 18:21. Look at what it says. And thou shalt not let any of thy seed pass through the fire to who? Molech. And they said it wasn't mentioned in the text. Oh man, come on, mouse. Bear with me 1 second, family. My mouse is just. All right. Anyway, let me just fast forward this way. All right. So here it says here, child sacrifice is condemned in the Bible without mention of the god Molech. Now, why does this? Why did they make it a point to say that? Why? It sounds Talmudic, right? And I'm gonna show you here. Let me fast forward here. I had to clean up this slide, take some of those transitions out. This is coming from the Talmud, Sanhedrin 64a, and watch what you see here. Watch what you see here. Mishnah, right? That's in the Mishnah has it written there, but also in the Talmud. He who gives his seed to Molech incurs no punishment unless he delivers it to Molech and cause it to pass through the fire. So they're saying he who gives his seed to Molech incurs no punishment unless he sacrificed the child, right? Unless he caused it to go through the fire, then that's a sin. Then it goes on to say, if he gave it to Molech but did not cause it to pass through the fire or the reverse, he incurs no penalty unless he does He does both. The Mishnah teaches idolatry and giving to Molech. Rabbi Aben said, our Mishnah is in accordance with the view that Molech worship is not what? Idolatry. For it has been taught, if one causes his seed to pass through the fire, whether to Molech or to any other idol, he is liable to death. Rabbi Eliezer, son of Rabbi Simeon, said, if to Molech he is liable, if to another idol he is not. You see this craziness? You see this craziness, family? And many of our brothers and sisters are jumping out of the frying pan of Christianity and Catholicism right into the frying pan of Judaism. We're just getting warmed up, family. No, let me stop. The horned goat demon, Molech, is also known as Baphomet, was conceptualized by Eliphas Levi, a key figure in Freemasonry. BBC News decoding the symbols on Satan's statue. I gotta clean this slide up. Look at this here, family. Decoding the symbols of Satan's statue. The name dates back to the Inquisition and torture of the Knights Templar about 1100, who, according to French chroniclers of the Crusades, confessing to worship a heathen idol called Baphomet. Some scholars believe Baphomet was simply a corruption of Muhammad, the prophet Muhammad. But over the years, as the mysteries of speculation around the Templars has grown, so too have the interpretations of the word. The best known modern image of Baphomet was drawn by 1856, the French occultist Eliphas Levi. In his book, Transcendental Magic, Its Doctrine and Ritual, he emphasized a winged hermaphrodite with a torch between his horns and a pentagram on his forehead. Levi's Baphomet was a hermaphrodite with breasts, but we took the breasts off, says Greaves, and this is why they took it off. The temple did not want to get embroiled in a debate about gender, which might distract from what it believes are more, and again, said more important things that they want to cover, whatever. But the key is the Baphomet has breasts because it's a hermaphrodite.
Mm.
And again, as he said, they purposely took it out just so that way to the public it wouldn't raise questions. So Eliphas Levi is a key Mason who meshed the Kabbalistic teachings with Luciferian doctrine, laying the foundation of Masonic rituals. Didn't we see that on the rituals or the cult of Baal? We saw the Luciferian, right?
Yep.
And this is Eliphas Levi. This is the mentor of Albert Pike. And you see that he worshiped Lucifer. What is more absurd and more impious than to attribute the name of Lucifer to the devil? That is, to personified evil. The intellectual Lucifer is the spirit of intelligence and love. It is the Paraclete, in other words, an advocate. It is the Holy Spirit, where the physical Lucifer is the great angel of universal magnetism. So this is his own words, worshiping Lucifer. So this is a source, Wade Baskin, Dictionary of Satanism. And I'm gonna say this, family. I announced this a number of times. Don't go out here purchasing this source here if you don't have a prayer life, you don't fast, you don't read your word. Because if you go and start purchasing like sources like this, it'll mess you up. You'll get some stuff on your spirit that you can't let go of. So don't just go out here purchasing this source here just for the sake of purchasing it so you can have something to read. It can mess you up again. Any comments, guys?
That sounds just like somebody said in the chat, but that does sound like my boy Pike. Oh, you're going right to him.
What's that? I'm sorry.
That Bible, that Satanic Bible, said like the same thing that Pike wrote in his letter.
Yeah, yeah,
Alvin Pike.
yeah,
Equating the Satan to the angel of light. Bad is good.
yeah, yeah. That's what they're doing. And this is what it says about Eliphas Levi inside the Dictionary of Satanism. French magician and author of works on the occult. Eliphas Levi, whose real name was Alphonse Louis Constant, claimed to have summoned up the ghost of Apollonius of Tyana in London in 1854. Born in Paris about 1810, he is said to have been reincarnated as Aleister Crowley. A.E. Waite, the learned English occultist, said Levy's doctrine and ritual contained the secrets of an occult society into which Levy had been initiated, from which he had been expelled. So he was practicing the Kabbalah. This guy connected to the 1948ers. So even in the Church of Satan, the MAGA, this is dealing with Donald Trump's group, the MAGA or MAGA's role represents the mastery over satanic philosophy, ritual, and rituals. Why am I bringing this up? Well, inside this book, look at what it says inside this book. A generic name for witch. The term usually denotes a pleasure-seeking witch. So that's MAGA, but then you also see MEGA, which still connects to MAGA, right? But look at what it says, MAGUS. MAGA, MAGUS. One of the 10 grades corresponding to the Sephiroth in Aleister Crowley's Kabbalistic system. So you see how this ties into Freemasonry, the Kabbalah, the 1948ers. Aleister Crowley was practicing the Kabbalistic stuff. Eliphas Levi, that tells you he was practicing it. That tells you just by his name that he converted to Judaism.
Help that way up.
So remember this, family. This is the lower part of the Ten Sifra, the Ein Sof. Remember, we talked about this. This was inside the video I shared. The foundation, which is the Yasad, the Shekinah. This is the female, male and female reproductive organ on this chart. The hips, as far as the torso, and the organs right here. You going to say something, Sister Carol?
No, you're fine.
Okay, so like Freemasonry, the Church of Satan promotes Jewish mysticism. One of the earliest American influence by Eliphas Levi was the prominent Masonic writer Albert Pike. Oh man, this is driving me up the wall. I'm gonna have to fix this. You know, I just went a little crazy. I mean, back in the day, I guess I was going crazy with my animations. Got to blame you,
I'll take it,
Marine Scholar, because you should have known me back well enough. You should have known me a little earlier to prevent me from going crazy with my transition.
I was still involved with the board,
All right. So through the influence of Eliphas Levi and Albert Pike, the integration of Judaism with Luciferian doctrine became a foundational element of Freemasonry. All right. And this is coming from the Morals and Dogma. I'm just showing you this, guys, so you can see that Freemasonry is connected to this. All right. Lucifer, the light bearer, strange and mysterious name to give to the dark spirit of darkness. Lucifer, the son of the morning, it is he who bears the light, and with its splendor, intolerable blinds feeble, sensual, or selfish souls. So you see him paying homage to Lucifer. And this is another source. The Femi, I'm not going to pronounce all this because this is in another language, but this is another source, right? That Albert Pike is also worshiping Lucifer. And what I did was I got this book here. I believe it's in Spanish or no, French. what I did was I just had it transliterated. All right. And so this is what it says. It says that which we must say to the crowd is we worship a God, but it is the God that one adores without superstition. So they're saying that publicly. They say, hey, when they ask, when you ask Freemasonry, you saying if you say to them, do you worship God? They say, yeah, we worship a God. They'll say it in a way like, oh, a God, okay. They believe in the same things. When actually they say we worship a God, meaning they worship a different deity. But they say it in a way so that way it won't stir up red flags. All right. And you see here, maintained in the purity of the Luciferian doctrine. Okay. But let's get to another thing here. I just want to get to the Kabbalah, but this is him paying homage to Lucifer. And this is, of course, the fraternities, the sororities, the Eastern Star, the Freemasons, again, the Eastern Star, the Freemasons, all you'll see these symbols if you pay attention to that chart or that tree of life by the cult of Baal. All right, this is breaking down those colors and what these colors mean. Right, but how does this, how does the Jeffrey Epstein connects to the cult of Baal? And I'm gonna just cover this a little bit more, and then we're gonna have to break this up into two parts because I want to talk about the temple of the lodge, rather, the King Solomon's Lodge of Charleston, South Carolina.
Mm. That Eastern Star, Pastor, looks the same thing as the police's. The police has a
exactly. That's it is. It is.
Because I was approached about that.
Yeah. And then this is with the Wicca, give you the meaning of the colors.
Wow.
And it's worshiping the the five elements here: spirit, fire, water, earth, air. Right. Really, the elements is the four elements, but here they have a fifth star for the spirit.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why I say, especially when you're dealing with the women, actually got to say with the men too, be careful with these hair colors you put inside your hair, because you could give off a message that you may not actually intend on giving, passing off. And so it could contribute, it could trigger certain behaviors or certain questions towards you, especially if you live up in the New York area, New York, New Jersey area, you have certain things going on. Don't be surprised. You have certain spaces, certain groups from certain spaces approaching you. All right. All right. You know what? Do you guys want to continue here? Or we want to take a pause right here. Just deal with Epstein next week.
Yeah, because Epstein's a whole other subject by itself.
Yeah, let's pause here because this still ties in, family, to the cult of Baal. Now, this is getting into child sacrifice, the sexual rituals, and this is going to take us into the Freemasons, the Jewish Freemasons Masonic lodges. We're going to get into their Masonic lodges, and when you understand, as I pointed out, Solomon's Temple, they have that's a lodge by them that's in South Carolina, but also in Savannah, Georgia. And they are the ones that put together the whole layout of the city of Charleston. So that we'll share that when we do a part 2 to this next week. All right. A lot of information that we shared. So I want to give some shout outs real quick, and then we'll wrap this up here. SOE Boom, thank you for the super sticker. Yaquaba, thank you for the super sticker. Pastor, please continue this series. Definitely will. I don't know why I keep wanting to pronounce his name in a different way. Marjorie Lemons, want to say thank you for the super sticker, and family. Let's show some love to each one that took the time out to contribute to the channel, to the works that we're doing here. Really appreciate you guys, and we're going to go ahead and wrap it up. But I'll start with you, Sister Carol. Do you have any final words that you want to share with the people?
You have unfolded a lot of heavy information, but I know a lot of you all are not going to be able to ascertain all of it. I would suggest you just try to re-watch this video again and slowly understand what has been unfolding before your eyes, because it's a lot and it's
Yeah.
heavy, and it can make you feel some kind of way because of the deception that has been going on from the very beginning. I mean, the beginning to where we are now. And I just pray that you keep your prayer life strong as you go back through this, and really understand what's really been happening before your eyes and why we're in a condition that we're in today in 2025.
Absolutely, absolutely. And do you have anyone that you want to, anyone or any group that you want to give the headache award to?
Oh gosh, I didn't thought about that. Well, that whole chart, that chart you showed me is this need to be slapped and put in the trash can and destroyed. In fact, it needs to be put in the fire and burned.
All right, let's give the even though she went Catholic on us and gave a generic answer, which is good,
No,
right? She went Catholic.
because it's I mean, it's no such the one thing you can put in that. It's everything.
I got to defend her on that because I was thinking about somebody too, but everybody's entwined in that doggone web.
Yeah, everybody can go in that trash can.
You know what? I'm gonna give both of y'all this award.
I feel that. I just feel that, man.
Well, we definitely going to put this doctrine, as Sister Carol pointed out, we're going to give it the trash can. All right, Berean Scholar. Next up is you.
And to my sister's defense, Browster, I was thinking, when you said that, I'm thinking about who I'm saying, but since you it's no way you can listen to this teaching that you did tonight on the first time and get everything, because there's a difference between hearing and listening. I mean, a lot of this information, when I came into the awakening, I heard things I'd never heard before. So I had to hear it again, go back, research myself, pick, stop the video, write down the stuff and go search myself. So I can hear it. I listen to it, but I have to hear it so I can take it in. And the like I said, that web, like what you were talking about right now with the person over now, these child molestation, these practices of offering up our children to Molech, it's so deep. And guys, we need to get out of this Borg. So we need to get out of this system of Baal. Go ahead, put system of Baal for the headache. You ain't hit them hard enough.
That looked like it hurt, right? It sounded like it hurt.
I feel it. I feel that when you did that.
And as you heard, family, they gave some great advice, and I encourage you guys go back over, watch the video. I'll drop this link again just to make sure you guys have it. That's to the ChatGPT about the Sefer Bible. Within that, it has some additional information on the Book of Jasher, the Book of Jubilees, the Book of Enoch. So I encourage you guys, if you get a chance, click on that link and it'll help you learn more about the Sefer Bible and why I would not recommend that to anyone. All right, so let me go ahead and drop this link again, and we're just gonna give all the awards. We're gonna start off with the 1948ers. We got to give them the Headache Award. The Meow Award. All right, and we definitely have to give them the Garbage Can Award. And lastly, we're going to have to give them. We're going to have to give them a 3-piece. Here's the 3-piece, and we're going to have to give them a side. And let's give them their order to go. All right. So, in the words of Yahweh that he gave to Moses to give to the children of Israel, when they were at what appeared to be a dead end after being led out of Egypt, after being preserved through 10 plagues, they came to what appeared to be a dead end, and they were ready to go back to Egypt. And so the Most High gave Moses these encouraging words in Exodus chapter 14, verse 13 to 14. Fear ye not, stand still. See the salvation of Yahweh. These Egyptians that you see here today, they will never have power over you ever again. The Most High will fight for you. But here's the kicker, family. We have to hold our peace. In other words, calculated silence. And the Hebrew word that's in the text is not shalom. It's actually charash, which means be quiet. Can't go back, can't stay here, keep moving forward. Shalom.
Listen, Genesis chapter 11 verse 10 explains the genealogy of Shem. Shem was a black man in Africa. If you repeat this back, Genesis 14 verse 13, Abraham steps on the scene. Being a descendant of Shem, which is a fact, means Abraham too was black. Abraham, born in the city of a black man, called Nimrod, grandson of Ham. Ham had 4 sons. One was named Canaan. Here, let me do some explaining. Abraham, Isaac was Jacob had 12 sons, for real, and these were the children of Israel. According to Genesis chapter 10, these were the children of Israel. According to Genesis chapter 10, these were the children of Israel.